Welcome everybody to hosting a meeting in Zoom. I'm Jane and I work for the Nottingham and Nottinghamshire CCG Clinical Commissioning Group, and we commission services across the city and the county. We're working in connection with Connected Nottinghamshire, Get Nots Connected, and my colleague Rosie will just introduce herself from Connected Nottinghamshire.
Thanks, Jane. Yeah, I'm Rosie and I work for Connected Nottinghamshire, and we are a digital transformation programme working across Nottingham and Nottinghamshire's integrated care system. And I run a project called Get Nottinghamshire Connected, which supports people on digital inclusion, which helps patients and residents improve their skills and confidence with being able to use technology.
Thank you, Rosie. So in today's session, we're going to have a look at some parts of hosting a meeting. The different functions are displayed on the screen. We'll go into more detail of those within the presentation. Okay, next slide, please. So when you're hosting a meeting, the things that you just need to keep in mind, you'll need to have a registered account on Zoom. Now this can be a free account. Bear in mind you get 40 minutes maximum and you're allowed up to 100 participants in a meeting. You'll have your own unique Zoom ID and passcode. This will be available every different meeting. Once you've selected a meeting and scheduled it, this will be shown to everybody. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so once you have created your Zoom account, you will see the picture on the left-hand side is the home screen. What you'll need to do is once you've clicked onto the home screen, it will prompt you to add your email address and the password that you'll have already selected and set up your account with. Once you've entered those, you need to click sign in and that will take you to the next screen. So once you've selected that and you're successfully into your Zoom background of Zoom, this is your profile page. So this will show your personal details. You're able to change any of these at any point by clicking on the blue edit link, which is on the right hand side of each individual section. Next slide, please. So the next blue button down on the left hand side is meetings. Now this is where you are able to see all the meetings that you have up and coming, that you've already scheduled, previous meetings that you've already scheduled and held. You will also be able to schedule a meeting from this screen, which is on the right hand side. So if you clicked that button, this will take you to the next screen. So within this screen, this is where you will provide details of your meeting. So there are a number of boxes that you will need to enter information in. So the first one is the topic. So ensure you have a title for your meeting, and below will be a description of the meeting. So bear in mind when you send your link out to your participants, they will see what is in that box. So just bear in mind what you put in there. I tend to just put a title and the title again. So below that is when the meeting is scheduled. Now you can either put the date in manually or click on the little button at the side which gives you the calendar, and you can select your date from there. Within the next box is the time. So just bear in mind it's only 12 to 9, and you have to select whether it's AM or PM. Try not to make the mistake of putting 5 o'clock in the morning meeting. So once you've done that, you can then select the duration of the meeting. Now, you can have the meeting from 15 minutes up to an hour. Bearing in mind though, if you only have a free account, it will tell you at 40 minutes you only have a couple of minutes left. So just bear that in mind when you're selecting the duration of the meeting. You don't need to change the time zone because it automatically is inserted. And the meeting ID at the bottom, this will always be generated automatically. Next slide, please. So this is the next part. It will automatically generate a passcode as well. So this is your security really, which you will be able to give to your participants, unique to this meeting. So they will only be able to join this meeting. That passcode will change every time you have a different meeting. So the next button down, waiting room, it's advisable to tick that because this is where you can monitor who comes in and out of the meeting. For instance, if you have Mickey Mouse enter your meeting and you haven't invited them, you can delete them. They won't be able to be allowed to enter the meeting. The next one down is the video. So host is the person who is actually hosting the meeting. It's advisable sometimes to have that video on, although you can click it off, but it's nice to be the first person that everybody sees. So I would click that on, and participants the same. I normally click that to on because it's nice to see everybody's face, although people tend not to like to have their videos on sometimes, but they can click that off if they want to. So the next one is the meeting options. So you need to be ticking allow participants to join anytime. You can untick this if you want to, but if you tick it, anybody can join at any point. If you untick it, they won't be able to. The next bit is to mute participants on entry. This is normally advisable when it's a large meeting and a formal meeting, because people tend to log on and have background noise at first. That creates a lot of interference, especially when somebody is trying to speak. It's advisable just to ask everybody to be on mute as they enter. They can always unmute themselves and say hello to everybody as they arrive, sorry, should I say. Now, if you want to automatically record the meeting, you can do this by ticking the button, and as soon as you have opened the meeting, it will automatically start the recording. Now you can tick that off or pause the recording at any point during the meeting, but automatically it will record the meeting and save that. I'll go through that at a later slide. Approve or block entries of specific countries. You don't need to tick that. There's no need for you to tick that. And then just finally, you can save your scheduled meeting. Next slide, please. So once you've scheduled your meeting, you can go back into the meetings bar on the left-hand side, and that will be shown in the meetings up and coming. So you can see there the meeting ID has been generated and your meeting is there with the correct time. This is where you can check to ensure that you have AM or PM, and it will give you the title of your meeting as well. So to obtain a link to send to participants, the next slide you can see where it says the link to join, sorry. that is greyed out at the moment, but it will produce a link for you to send to participants, inviting them to the meeting. Now, for you to copy the invitation, there's a button on the right-hand side of the link, which you can click, and this will copy the whole invitation for you to send to participants via an email or a WhatsApp link or a web link. Next slide, please. So to go back to meeting recording, once you've automatically recorded your meeting and the meeting has ended, Zoom will ask you to save the recording, a copy of the recording. So you just click yes, and this button here on the left-hand side where it says recording, that will be where you will access your recording. However, because it's a free account, it will go into your device, whichever device you're on, whether it's a mobile, a tablet, or a computer, and it's normally stored within your files under Explorer and Downloads. Or if it's a mobile, it just may be under Downloads, and a tablet will be the same. So that's where you will access that, and you'll be able to click it and copy it and send it out to people if you wish after the meeting. Next slide, please. So finally, within the meetings button on the left-hand side, there are three other buttons that you can look at. So once your meeting has finished, your meeting invitation, your meeting title will show in previous meetings. You can still access that by going into previous meeting. Other options on this section are personal room. That's really where your personal data is stored, similar to the first screen. And a meeting template. So if you wanted to copy that meeting for a similar meeting, you're able to do that within the meeting templates. Next slide. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Rosie, who is going to take you through starting a scheduled meeting.
Thanks, Jane. So once you've scheduled in your Zoom meeting, this will appear in your Zoom account, and as you can see from this screenshot, it will appear on the right hand side in a little clipboard type display. And to start that, a host can easily press the start button and then your meeting will appear. Next slide, please. So after you've clicked that start button, you'll see a pop-up box appear, which asks you to choose one of the audio settings. The best option for you to select here will be to join with computer audio, which basically means you'll be using your computers or laptops or other devices, sort of microphone and speakers, to be able to speak and hear people. So at this point, your call will be set up and you'll be able to see yourself in the video conference window. Next slide, please. For example, just like this. So now you're able to see yourself in the meeting. It's time to start allowing your attendees to come into that meeting. And this is done through admitting them access. So as the host, you'll be notified when participants are waiting to join the call. And what you have to do is in the toolbar section right at the bottom, you just need to simply select the participants button. And a new panel or box will appear, and it's generally on the right hand side of your screen, just here. You can choose to admit individual participants, so that's one by one, or to make things a little bit quicker, you can admit people all at once. However, what we do suggest is that if you are admitting everyone at one single point, you have a quick look at people's names just to see that everyone's there that you're expecting to be there, and that there's no one's name that you're not expecting. Next slide, please. So if you're looking at hosting a virtual sort of support group or community sort of networking session, a meeting that really has lots of people attending, you might want to consider having people's microphones off, just so you're not getting people talking over one another, everyone speaking at once. So as the host of the meeting, you're able to do this by simply clicking on that participants button again. That's at the bottom of your screen in that toolbar. And a new panel or box will appear on the right-hand side. And at the bottom of this, you should see a button that says mute all. All you need to do is click on that, and a new pop-up box will appear asking you whether you would like participants to be able to unmute themselves. We'd advise you to select yes for that, so giving people the opportunity to unmute themselves during the meeting to maybe ask a question. If you want to unmute someone, all you need to do is hover over, sorry, next slide please. So if you do want to unmute someone, all you need to do is hover over the person's name, and an option will come up to unmute them. Just simply click on this, and next slide, please. They should receive an option to allow that. Now, recording a meeting, if that's something that you're wanting to do, to look at it and send it round to participants, just click on the record button in your toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom window. And once you're recording, you're able to pause and stop that at any time. So once you press stop and you've finished recording, you'll be asked to confirm that you'd like to stop that recording, and you just need to press yes for this. Next slide, please. And then finally, just ending a meeting. In your Zoom window, normally at the bottom and the right-hand side, in the corner, you'll see a red button which says End Meeting for All. Click on this and select end the video to allow the call to finish. Next slide, please. So thanks for joining us with this how-to guide of how to start and schedule a Zoom meeting. If you have any further questions or need any help or support, then please feel free to get in touch with us at Get Knots Connected. We have a digital support line which you can reach us on 0115 883 8873. Or you can also look on the Zoom Help Centre, which has loads of really helpful videos and guides to help you navigate through the Zoom platform. Thanks.